allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. First item of business is approval of the March 20th study session minutes.
Motion to approve.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next up, public comments. Got a lot of public tonight. No comments.
Full house.
I've got one, Darrell.
Yes, sir.
I just want to congratulate everyone that got reelected. That was a tough battle, and you did well. I appreciate having you all, though. You're doing great.
Thank you.
A heck of a lot of competition.
And that was Tony Miles, and what's your address, please?
Yes.
When you run unopposed, you don't make it.
Okay, next up, Board of Aldermen will approve payment of the bills that are due.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or concerns? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Pay the bills, please. Old business discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding 2024 street projects. I think you saw in there last time I misspoke about the scope of work, and so I think I'll have Joe, if he doesn't mind, explaining it again and accurately this time.
All right, so the latest revised level, what you see for the 134,279, what that does is that only addresses, it fixes the bad spots that are in that road and does a chip and seal overlay over the entire street. It doesn't fix none of the drainage problems that we have on that road. And I just wanted to make you guys aware of it. The original bid for the 300,000 plus, that included everything. That includes fixing the drainage problem. One of the problems is on the northwest corner. The road's actually like 2 to 3 feet higher than the back of the curb. So all that water's coming down and getting underneath that. So it doesn't address it. Like I said, all it does is bad spots that are on the road, they're gonna dig them out, replace them with asphalt, 8 inches, and then come back with a chip and seal overlay.
But the 8 inches is only where there's bad spots.
Yeah, only where it's bad. They're only gonna dig out the bad spots on the road.
And this
So I just wanted to let you guys know.
Which street are you on?
Huh?
Are you on Park or are you on
Central.
Central? Okay.
Central. And so, and then, like I said, then another thing I just want to say was, these are just engineering estimates. We won't know the cost until the project is actually go out to bid and we do bid only.
So, is there a way to fix the drainage after this down the road?
I mean, you kind of throw money after that. I mean, because what needs to be done, some of that road needs to be taken down, or the curb's gonna have to be raised up to meet. Because like I said, on that one corner, you can really, it's literally 3 feet from the top of the ground to the bottom of the curb, so.
All I'm thinking about is just other areas that need to be addressed too.
And like how he just told us, he told me, he's like, this could last 5, 10 years, it could last 6 months, it just. Well, that's all I had. I just wanted to let you guys know what the project was.
So, I know last time we voted, but I just wanted to make sure to clarify, because I was under that there was some selection boxes that are going to be set, and it doesn't look. I mean, that's not true based on that. So I didn't. If someone was thinking it was going to manage stormwater runoff, and that was why you voted that way. I didn't want to move forward and having had misinformed. So
Yeah.
Well, we won't be able to vote on it until the bids come in anyway, right?
Well, that's what I wanted to let you guys know that way. The next step would be, I'll get hold of the engineers, they're going to do the design of it, they're going to do the bidding documents, and then we put it out to bid, and like I said, yeah, you won't know until the bids come in.
But is the board's desire that we move forward on at least getting the additional information?
Yeah, because it's going to cost us to get it designed, bid documents and all that.
Move forward.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Okay, next up, discussion, consideration of possible action regarding approving firework permits for TNT showcase. What have you got there, Joe?
Huh?
The TNT showcase.
Yeah, he's right there. Yeah, this is the show, this is the 510 that's always done by the car wash on the 24 highway.
Okay.
Todd Boyer, I'm not a resident with Buckner, but I own the off 320 East Monroe, right there at the car wash, like Joe said. Just doing the same standard stuff, nothing changing this year. Gonna remain to just shoot fireworks on Friday and Saturday and keep it to that, so.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Sounds like you're in business. All right, Mr. Bozine,
Yeah, so, bill number 24-01, ordinance number 1088, an ordinance establishing chapter 250 of the municipal code of the city of Buckner, Missouri to administer short-term rentals within city limits.
I did have a question. I was guessing this is a variation of an ordinance that's somewhere else.
Yeah, that's correct.
It has property locations in wards 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we only have 3 wards.
Oh.
We need to revise that.
I didn't catch that either.
Okay, I had thought, I will revise that. I can collapse 3 and 4, and we can just do that June 1 or July 1 or June 30th, or I can take it to where it's 3 times a year instead of 4 here. That'd be a simple amendment to the ordinance.
Okay.
This is,
And I did have a question, and it may just be done. My item, Rory. That when it's done with 6 guests or fewer, the short-term rental is defined as it's G, right above that table. It says the short-term rental, limiting dwelling or units, such, for less than 30 days with 6 or fewer guests. I didn't know, I mean, I think, I know what an honest person's thought was, but
Yeah.
is it not a short-term rental if I put 8 people in there, or if I did, I didn't know how that.
no, it's a good question. What that generally means is that we would not allow short-term rentals if there's gonna be more than 6 guests.
But if you had a 4-bedroom house that we were doing that with, you could conceivably have 8. So I didn't know if we would want, I don't want to make it unduly cumbersome,
Sure.
but I didn't know if you had a larger property, whether it should be no more than like 2 occupants per bedroom or something, or sleeping quarters or something like that.
Okay, yeah, we could also make that change where it could be 2 occupants per bedroom or fewer guests.
Yeah.
So this was taken from a other city that we've done this for. This is what I like to call kind of middle of the road short-term rental. You've got certain cities that just want to absolutely prohibit it no matter what, and you can't really do that. So what you do is you say, you're not allowed to run a short-term rental to rent it out for anything less than 30 days, which effectively kills an Airbnb, because who rents an Airbnb for more than 30 days? There are cities that don't police it at all. They're becoming more rare. This is kind of the middle of the road where someone's got to be within 30 miles of the city to respond to anything. They have to notify property owners. There's a warning table for noise, because that's typically the issue, because they're typically bachelorette parties, friends getting together, typically loud. So this polices it, but also allows it without effectively administratively killing it, which is what a lot of cities, especially on the Kansas side and closer to Kansas City, are trying to do.
And is this police through like code enforcement, or would you call the police, or how do you enforce this?
So you would imagine that neighbors would probably call the police, because neighbors don't know code enforcement, and that's who they would do it. So it's kind of an either or. I don't know exactly what our codes enforcement situation is. Some cities hire it out if we have it in-house. The way this is written is it could, obviously a warning where a police officer has to come out, that's going to count as a warning. If we want to have codes enforcement, JD follow up. If JD gets called out and notices it, that's also a warning. It's kind of an either or. Enforcement will depend on who's called.
Experience, I've only stayed in an Airbnb once, but it was in San Francisco, and the last day I was there, apparently it was an illegal sublet, and they put a thing on the door that they were padlocking it at 5 o'clock, so fortunately I was leaving town that day.
Yeah.
I didn't, but that looked like it didn't look like a police thing, but I was,
No, sure.
That's why I was curious.
Police are often called for issues like this, especially noise or parties or fights or whatever. The city will handle it administratively. A lot of times people will lease buildings they shouldn't. That'll be like a city function if someone's leasing out a commercial space as a short-term rental, you know. It's gonna depend on who's called, and I guess we can kind of talk here on the city side as far as who wants to receive or,
I'd
you
be
know.
concerned that, what is it, 004, the old city hall up there, I could be concerned that that's one that would end up on that list.
We can't stop them, and we can kind of control it with this, is that what you're telling us?
Yeah, and the fines are somewhat onerous when you consider that I believe every day is a violation. And so it can be $100 for every day. If they run one illegally for a weekend, that's $300. We can lien the property too, since we're the city, and so it'll be a special assessment on their taxes. I mean, they're not gonna get out of it. The lien would be on it, and it'd be very hard for them to sell the property or let it out again. So you're right. I mean, if someone wanted to do it tomorrow and none of us knew about it, there'd be nothing we could do to stop it. But once we do find out, there are mechanisms that we can move against. And then also, I want to say that Judge Lagrasso and the city prosecutor would be prosecuting these, since it'll be municipal ordinance violations. And so I could talk to them about their thoughts on how that would go down, but they would certainly be interested in prosecuting something like this.
And then on section 250.060, on the inspections, number 3, it talks about the inspector of the applicant's choice. So instead of the city enforcement person doing it, they could say, no, I want Curtis to inspect it, or how does that work?
So this was a little bit odd of a situation, but this is how our rental inspection program works, is that when someone has just a normal rental, think of an apartment building, the way our rental inspection program works is they hire their own inspector who comes through and goes through a check off and then submits it to the city. It saves the city money to not have some contract with an inspector that would only need to come out here very rarely. But ultimately, all the approval is through the city administrator or their designee. So it'll either be Joe or JD, whoever's gonna be reviewing and say, this looks like a sham inspection, or is this legit?
But is there anything that qualifies the inspector? I mean, could I be an inspector? I mean, would, you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's based off of, the rental program, you have to be a certified inspector.
Okay,
with all these
that's what I
licenses.
was looking for.
And we got a list of, I think, 3 right now. We had like 5 or 2 of them drop out. It's based off the City of Independence. So we got a list of like 3 inspectors that you have to pick from the list.
Are they licensed here in town?
Yeah, and they're licensed, and they got the other licensing too. So, yeah, you just can't pick, you know, Joe Bob out from the street and say, hey, come inspect my house.
That's-
It's $10, make it pass.
I know that, right? I mean, that's what I was hoping, but
Yeah.
I wasn't clear on.
If you look at number 2, I say that it's got to, the inspection has to comply with the rules and regulations promulgated by the Buckner Rental Inspection Program. So it's
Okay.
got to comply with all, just like any other rental, so.
It's 1, 2, and 3, not.
Yeah,
mix and match.
right, oh yeah, you got to comply with all of these, yes.
And then, this was from the planning and zoning, and they suggested that we have some kind of stepped up fines for repeat offenders, so that's also included in where the first offense is wrong.
Yeah, first offenses, this is at second to last page at the bottom, 250.120. The first offense is a warning, the second offense is $100. The third offense is they can't rent it for 30 days. Fourth offense, they can't rent it for 3 months. And then the fifth offense is revocation of the short-term rental permit completely.
So that's just stop repeat offenders, so he keeps on letting out to say, you know, you always have problems with the same person, the same company.
And then if anyone operates without a license, that's where it's $350 a day. If they're just doing this off the books, they don't have a rental inspection. We also require they have a business license because they are running a business by renting out property. So we've got them licensed at least 2 ways if they want to run a short-term rental.
So if we wanted to vote on this tonight with the edits that were previously, or would we be better waiting?
If you guys want to vote on it tonight, we can. I will say what the amendments are, and then if one of you just wants to say so moved, because we do have a number 4 as a short-term rental here down the road, so it would make sense to pass this tonight. So the motion would be to amend the ordinance to remove Ward 4 and collapse it into Ward 3, and to amend section 250.020 subsection G to say with 2 occupants per room or fewer guests.
So
Second.
All in favor?
Well-
Oh, wait, let's go roll
I was
call.
gonna say we have.
Well, we got to vote on, this is a motion to amend technically, so
Correct.
this
Right.
doesn't need to be a roll call.
Yeah, no, we don't.
So we got a motion to amend the.
So you'll vote on this motion to amend.
Okay, so,
No, no.
and we got a motion and a second.
Yeah.
And so, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
And then next, we'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
Move to suspend.
All in favor of suspending the rules?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Now it's a motion as amended to pass the ordinance.
Okay. So bill number 2401, an ordinance establishing section 250 of the municipal code of the city of Buckner to administer short-term rentals within the city limits. It's roll call.
We need a motion and second.
Motion to approve.
With the
With the amendment.
amendments.
Okay.
Second.
Norris.
Alderman Jones.
Aye.
Alderman Fry.
Aye.
Alderman Ross.
Aye.
Alderman Markgraf.
Aye.
Alderman Norris.
Aye.
Alderman Cole. Aye.
All right, discussion, consideration, and possible action regarding Tammy's request.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm Tammy Cronis from Tammy Sue's, and what I'm here about this evening is, we've come to you before about Girls' Night Out, and so now I've come up with this great idea to pull the whole community together and try to do third Thursdays of the month, especially for the summer, for June, July, and August. And so I didn't make enough copies for everyone, but I did some brainstorming on themes, but just in general, the purpose of this is to get the community more involved in a variety of activities as well as more businesses. We do a lot right down here on the main drag, but trying to get everybody involved. I know that next year's Buckner's 150th, so in the back of my mind, I thought this would be great to start getting people working together and used to that so that we could really take off next year with the 150th. And being here a year and a half now, we have so many wonderful things to show off in this area. I just want to see it to continue to grow, and I feel bad for the people that work so hard in pockets, that it would be nice if we could get more people involved to do more things so that we can feed off each other. So for example, in the month of June, doing a hometown proud sip and stroll Arts-a-Palooza. Basically, it's just a theme so that each business could do what they wanted to do along with that theme. I went and talked to the Mid-Continent Library, and they loved it because they were trying to think of ways to get more community involvement so they could see themselves within their own building doing different things. And our purpose would then be to advertise all of those. So one of the goals that I had was to talk to lots of different people to get ideas, pull people together to work together. I'm committed to spearhead it and organize it and help. My underlying goal is as well that it doesn't cost me as a business to do something, and I wouldn't be charging. So for example, if we wanted some band to play, we wouldn't charge them to play, but they also wouldn't charge us to play. If they wanted to charge people to view, that's their business and they would collect that. Does that make sense what I'm trying to say? Because when I say no pay, it's not really for free. If we had vendors here doing a painting class, they're going to charge for that and get that money, but I wouldn't charge them to be here and they wouldn't charge me to come, but they would charge the people that participated a per person fee. So what I envision is that we have activities going on down here, just fun, family-oriented activities, wide variety, but then each individual business could have something that went along with the theme as well. And I just gave some ideas. You can look through that paper, but it was something to get on paper to show you, but it's definitely open for revisions. The big questions that I had to you of some ideas is one, having something major over in that parking lot. And I picked third Thursday so it wouldn't be the busy times like for Toscano's for their meals on Fridays and Saturdays, that Thursday wouldn't infringe on that as much. It would hopefully bring more people for them. But I was thinking 1 month doing like a farmer's market over there, somebody spearheading that and taking that off during certain hours. Another month potentially doing a car show, maybe a citywide garage sale. These were big type items to think of that could go on over there. We have several bands in town that practice. It'd be great if they played some live music. Hopscotch, hula hoop contests, just all kinds of fun, different things. One of the themes I had was a flower power month, which would be in July. And there's a vendor that I have in my store that does wellness, and she's a wellness coach, so we thought goat yoga would be fun, baby goat yoga. It'd be great if the fitness center did like a Richard Simmons workout. So just fun activities that would attract a wide variety of people. But the major goal is getting people involved in Buckner as a whole and getting each of us as business owners working together to provide something for the community. So I left a lot of little details out because those aren't finalized, but lots of ideas on the paper that you can look at.
Tammy,
Yes.
what kind of responses you had? I know you outbeat.
You were there. So I was hoping to hit more people than I did this week. Unfortunately, I had a family emergency and had to go to Springfield yesterday. So I did talk to the barbershop, the new barbershop. He doesn't know exactly what he could do, but he would be happy to participate. Talked to HCC, they're all in, they love the idea. They want their community outreach person to be involved, and maybe they could bring in one of their mobile health services during that time, especially in August. Like my theme was back to school, obviously calling it a back to school block party. I talked to some of the ladies from the church, which they said I could come and speak Wednesday to all the churches next Wednesday if it's approved by the aldermen. And they were saying that they would love to do like have their clothes closet open then. So the people I have talked to, which is not everybody, but several, have been very excited for the opportunity for everybody to get together and work, because they have felt kind of like I have coming in. Where do you go to get the better of all? Like I joined the chamber, but it's just a small group. It's not everybody. So how do you outreach and get people to work together as a whole? So that's one of my major goals.
What month are you thinking?
June, July, and August. And it'd be the third Thursday. Yeah, so it would be June the 20th, July the 18th, and August 15th.
And what time to what time?
So that would vary. Like the major activities I'm foreseeing down here would be afternoon, evening, but maybe the farmer's market, they're gonna do it in the morning. I'm sure that Mid-Continent would have things going all day. So we would just have a big, I don't know if it would go through Buckner Happenings. I have a meeting, I was supposed to meet with Leslie and Jessica, but I had to cancel that, unfortunately. So we are rescheduling. But one means of communication and flyers up, just telling everybody of all the activities during that time. Because even the grocery store could do something like run a special that day that went along with the theme, just so that we see it citywide.
So to refresh my memory, when they were gonna have that pet thing over here at the parking area over there across the road, and Mr. Maurer said there was some sort of legal liability, and we ended up not doing that.
I don't recall. I was thinking there might have been more around that if your dog died or something, or
Bit somebody?
Mm-hmm.
but I don't.
I couldn't remember what the
specifically
specifics on that were, and I didn't know if it was an insurance thing, if, somebody
Sure.
falls down at the farmer's market for happened. Since that's on city property, how's that covered?
I know we've had them there on Saturday mornings a few years prior to COVID. It seemed like Saturday mornings in the summer they had a farmer's market all
Yeah.
the time.
Wouldn't that be the same as them walking down the sidewalk?
Yeah, I mean, generally, you hear about slip and fall cases, and Mike Pasquale and Mike got this, and as long as there's nothing inherently wrong or physically wrong with your property, you're not bringing any additional liability. Now, people can sue for anything, we've seen that,
Sure.
but I wouldn't say there's any additional liability just from having them on city property, so long as our pavement is paved, we don't have big holes, anything like that. The one thing I did want to mention, and because it's something Steve and I have been looking into, is it sounds like this might implicate, if you all remember the entertainment district ordinance that we've been talking about. as we've researched, we found there's a lot of work that goes into that. That's essentially what they did at Power and Light in downtown Kansas City, to create a district where you can walk around with a drink on city roads at times. It involves the police being able to barricade it off and ensure safety. So we can continue working on that. But if we're talking about a block party or a sip and stroll, to me that sounds like alcohol that's going to be on the city street. I don't see an issue with that necessarily. We just have to make sure that we legislate it right, so that way liquor licenses aren't getting in trouble. We don't have the state saying, what are you guys doing here every third Thursday? So it's going to be a big ordinance. It already is right now in our drafts, but that's something that we're still looking at. I think we can do it. I'll want to check with Steve and finalize that ordinance, but June, July, and August, that gives us enough time. That gives us at least 4 more meetings before beginning of June, where we could bring an ordinance ready for you all to approve that.
And Alex, so like on the festival, when they have a beer garden or whether they're required to have police to kind of monitor that, would that be around the same type of area for allowing alcohol on the street like that?
Yeah, it certainly could. I mean, all of those vendors need to have valid liquor licenses, and thankfully that's all done through the state, so we don't have to worry about that or police that. We can establish minimums as far as police department. Typically, when people put on events like that, they need to pay the police overtime, or, so the city's not incurring also additional hours of charge for the police officers. But we could certainly wrap up that Ferris Festival into this too, or it's generally the same area, is my understanding, correct? That we're talking about here? Yeah. So it would encompass both this and that.
And the other question put out there too, again, not to compete with anybody down here, a big draw would be like if we did a coffee truck, like a food truck, or a funnel cake, nothing that we already serve, but something, and like ice cream or shaved ice, that would be a big draw if that would be potential. And again, a lot of those, ask for you to pay for them to come, or that they're paying for a spot. I don't want it to the level of the festival that big of that evening. It's just more like Grain Valley does First Fridays, and everybody knows to go out on Fridays and see what's going on in Grain Valley. So I was piggybacking on that idea of doing a third Thursday in Buckner.
So you probably weren't aware, Mr. Kellogg requested that the board create an ordinance that downtown can't have food trucks. That was something, we kind of modified that a little bit, but I think the downtown area can't have them for the ordinance, right?
I was thinking.
Also,
there's a caveat in
Yeah,
there.
like with the festival,
With the
there were
festival,
some
yeah.
specific
City function.
exceptions, but, yeah, I don't.
But you
know
got
how
it
that
done
works.
for the festival.
Well, the festival was,
And
because
you,
it's
and you okay.
but that's
You
a city,
also-
I'm not
City
arguing
sponsored
it,
it.
I'm just saying that
Right.
that was an ordinance that was passed. I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing, I'm just pointing out that that was already established. I'm okay with getting rid of that, if we want to do that, but.
I can't remember. I know that we legislated food trucks around COVID, but Joe was saying that he thinks if it was city approved, they're allowed to have
Yeah, I
food
think it
trucks.
was-
Yeah, if it was city approved, then
You
I
can't
think
do
the
truck
festival.
3 times. like
Yeah,
a
yeah,
truck.
there was.
Yeah, there's a
so
limit.
So many times, but I mean, if we were doing 3 months, that would be 3 times, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not tons of them, just like 1 or 2 that went along with the theme that didn't conflict with what anybody serves down there.
Right.
And definitely, like, the first one said sip and stroll.
Yeah.
But my focus is not about the alcohol by any means, it's more about all family-oriented activities. But we do have some businesses that is their business, so
Yeah.
they'll have something going on, yes.
If you're gonna do this on the third Thursday of the month, we're gonna need
Well, it's true, that's city council.
11 reserved parking spots, because that's when we do
Absolutely.
meetings here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Egg from, right in front of my store. Yeah, for sure.
Maybe we'll get more people to come to our meeting.
That'd be exciting, right? And I did the third Thursday because T and Thursday,
Delivered.
marketing, yes.
And third Tuesday's court nights.
Yeah,
Thursday was better.
but those might go together though.
Let's hope not. That's not what I did. Not what I did.
So I don't know that we can give you anything hard and fast tonight, but at least as the board, is there at least a motion to go forward with this? It sounds like we've got an ordinance that we need to get completed, but I think there,
Yeah, I'd make a motion to, I guess, pursue it or go forward until we get the ordinance all lined up.
I'll second it.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
We're on the way.
Woo-hoo.
And discussion and consideration of possible action regarding 227 South Hudson.
In your packet, you guys got the letter that she sent us, and then you got the minutes from the planning and zoning meeting that it was approved to move forward. And, like I said, she is wanting to make it an Airbnb. Now, I will say that the owner of the Airbnb lives in Florida.
More than 30 minutes away.
So that won't.
Well, I think she
But
has
it's
local,
registered
she has
agent,
local
was,
contacts in it. I think she's planning on either
When
selling
they
it
go
or
against
being
this
the,
new-
yeah.
That's a question, I guess, not to backtrack, I'm gonna, because I thought it said owner registered agent, but I think, I didn't, because I'm a registered agent on a couple of LLCs, but I don't have any real operational oversight.
I meant more like registered with City Hall, like this is who you call if you've got a party going on,
Okay.
not like a
The property
legal term
manager.
registered agent for a corporation, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the person who owns it, or the person, or if they don't live within 30 miles, they can ask someone, a realtor normally handles these kind of things, and they live within 30 concentric miles, and that's really just so, hey, the building's burning down, hey, you've got a fight or a mega party, you need to be here too, so they can get here in a reasonable amount of time.
Okay. Any other questions?
And so that it has to be inspected first before it's okay?
Yeah, she's going to have to go to the.
Yeah, she's gonna have to abide by this ordinance that you all passed tonight, just like anyone else that comes
Yeah.
after her will.
Will it be customary then that on a go forward that we would be approving a given parcel versus they would just, with the new ordinance?
It wouldn't
Would
come
each one of
before-
those come before the board, or will it be that it would just be a normal, like any other business administrative thing that the city
It would-
manager would take care of?
Sorry, good question. It would be a normal administrative thing. I have a couple carve-outs in here. If we receive 3 complaints, because they've got to notify people that live around this. If we receive 3 complaints, that means they got to come before you, which gives those complaining landowners an opportunity to be heard. If there's no complaints, it's going to go through the city administration, just like a business license that you all would not hear about necessarily. But there would be records of it at City Hall.
Okay, so I didn't know, do we really need to vote on 227 then? I mean.
We do because, correct me if I'm wrong, this is not zoned residential. So that's why I went for before planning and zoning first, was because that this would be including a new use for this piece of property, which I believe is just zoned commercial.
Yeah, so.
So this would obviously be residential, at least partly in nature, so that's why I went to planning and zoning, and that's why it's coming.
And it's adjacent to a residential multifamily.
Yeah.
So we're not essentially spot zoning, it's.
And then
Right.
on the other side, it's residential.
Surrounded.
Right.
Hey, Joe, do you think we could get a list, maybe a month of the properties, like an itemized list of the properties that are Airbnbs for each ward, so every alderman is aware in case there are
Yeah.
complaints? We can monitor.
Yeah, that'd be easy to do, because we have, like I said, they're going to have to get a business license and lease it as Airbnb.
So right now, there's 0.
Yeah, there's none right now. Let's be the first, if you guys approve it.
And we found the best way to actually find if Airbnbs are operating in your city is to go to Airbnb and search your city. Because again, people they'll buy a piece of property, they'll develop it, they'll, do all that, and then you'll never know what they're doing with it until you search on Airbnb and you say, oh my gosh, okay, they're letting this out for rent. So
Gotcha.
that'll be the real best way, because obviously they're not gonna be able to rent it to anyone unless they advertise it on Airbnb.
Any additional questions? Not, we take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Right.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Sounds like we're one step closer to having an Airbnb. Next up, elected officials' comments. Yes, sir.
Mayor, I have a question for council. State of Florida just initiated a law about involving the squatters.
Yeah.
Is there anything that the city of Wagner can invoke that would prevent that here in our town, or is that too small of a?
That's a really good question. I hadn't considered that. My first initial thought is, correct me if I'm wrong, Chief, but in Jackson County, the sheriff's office handles evictions. So I wonder if that's something that we could pass and then the sheriff would have to abide by. That's, I guess, it's a long way of me saying, I'll need to look into that. I hadn't considered
Would the
whether.
sheriff be able to take our ordinance and abide by that, or is he gonna have to have something from the state? Because that's been the problem all along, is they refer that to the police, local police, and
They just ignore it.
and they, if the people, as I understand it, live in that property illegally or not for 10 days, or if they pay a utility bill, then you've got to go through the court system to get them moved out.
Missouri law is much different than Florida, or
Is it?
here New York and California is a big issue with it too. Squatters don't have nearly the rights in the Midwest that they
That's
do
good
on
to
the
know.
coast. So in Missouri, technically, you got to live on a piece of property for 10 years before you can consider it yours. That's called adverse possession. But I'll look at this. I just don't know. I know that
Okay.
to legally evict someone, and it's not really an eviction because they don't actually legally live there, but to get someone out, if you want to do it by the book, you first have to file in court. That's anywhere. Just to make sure that you're doing it right. You're not going to get sued for breaking their arm, from throwing them out of your house. But I'll look at that Florida law.
Okay.
I'll see what some, because I know some cities, like you mentioned, have been pushing back. So maybe I can find an ordinance and tailor it to us. And I'll have to talk with chief, maybe the city prosecutor as well, to make sure that this is something we can do and it's not left to the county.
Thank you.
Well, I'd like to thank and congratulate all of you whose names were on the ballot. For one, thank you for filing and being willing to serve. And two, congratulations on your well-run campaign and win, as Mr. Miles indicated earlier tonight.
Yours too, Mayor.
It was expansive.
You got tired of looking at you all on TV?
But are we still wanting to do the thing? So if we could go down to the park, do the groundbreaking for the spray park. It looks like the weather's finally cooperating, and maybe we can get some pictures and be that much closer to having our spray park for the kids this summer. If there's nothing else, take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Yes, sir. All,
Second.
okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?